So amongst all of the things that are going on right now, I just kind of wanted to bring everybody a little bit of good news and a little bit of maybe some of the word to feed our souls while we're not able to get out. If you look at John chapter 4, verse 11, it talks about the woman at the well. And it says, "The woman saith unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then hast thou that living water?" And as we read this, we know that the woman was looking for water in the earthly places. She was looking for the water in earthly places, and she was looking down in a literal well. But the King of Kings was in her presence, and she was focused on that literal well with actual water in it, despite the fact that she had the source of living water sitting by her side. And I want you to think about, she asked him, "You have nothing to draw with." Today we can't be filled with God if we aren't holding up our cups. You know, so many times we look at that literal well, and we look for a literal source, and we look around us for what can the world give us. But you know, God can be our source of living water, and He can be our source of hope, and He can be our source of peace, even when the world, like right now, is so filled with chaos. You know, if you go into Walmart right now, you can't find toilet paper, you can't find canned goods, you can't find any hamburger, and you can't find anything, and you're looking around you for somebody or from some source to provide you with those things. And this woman at the well was doing the same thing. She had been looking to this literal well as the source of her water this entire time. But she looks at Jesus and she says, "You have nothing to draw with." You know, and that well is deep. She tells them that you have to be able to go down deep. If we aren't digging down and planting ourselves in God, then right now these perilous times can be extremely stressful and extremely antagonizing. But if we'll connect to that spring of living water, which is Jesus, and if we'll dig down, we'll find that we can have that peace and we can have that joy even in the midst of trouble. There are certain types of trees that are known for digging their roots down and kind of for searching out for water. And those trees are really bad for destroying water lines and causing problems with your houses. And what I want to focus on there is, if we want to actually be connected to God, it's not a surface connection. It's not a top of the layer connection. It's a deep down connection that we have to actually dig down into, and we have to plant ourselves in God, and we have to really search Him out. And I feel like especially right now, it's really hard to press in, and it's hard for us to push down deep, but we have to stop looking at the surface and what's going on around us, and instead dig down deep and latch on to God. Luke chapter 10 verse 38 says, "Now it came to pass as they went that he entered into a certain village, and a certain woman named Martha received him into her house. And she had a sister called Mary, which also sat at Jesus' feet and heard his word. But Martha was cumbered about much serving, and came to him and said, Lord, dost thou not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Bid her therefore that she may help me." Now that word cumbered means hindered or troubled or blocked or to inconvenience, to weigh down, and to burden. Now Martha had literally invited Jesus into her house. He literally had come into her home. It was the King of Kings and the Prince of Peace was come in, but instead of focusing on that good news and instead of focusing on who Jesus could be in her life, she was very busy serving. You know, and as a wife and as a mother, I know what it's like when you're trying to host and you're trying to take care of people and you're trying to do so many things, that it's really hard for when you invite someone in to sit down and enjoy their company. But I feel like even more so now than last week, we probably need to dig down deep and to actually get into the Word of God and to stop being so torn about and stop being so distracted by these things. You know, Martha was distracted. She was torn. She was pulled away from being able to sit at Jesus' feet. And instead of actually relishing in the fact that she had the King of Kings by her side, she was so busy trying to serve everyone that she couldn't focus on that. Now, and like I said, when people come to my house and they come to visit, number one, when you walk in my house, please remember I have 2 small children. My house is a disaster. And sometimes when I invite people in, I'm so busy thinking about how messy my house is and what are they thinking and are they judging me and I should probably hurry up and pick up these toys, and I should probably hurry up and put these dishes away, and I should hide all of these skeletons that fall out of my closet before they see them. That I'm not enjoying their company. I'm not actually taking the time to focus on them. But when we come into God's house, or when we take time to get into His Word, it's very important that we're not cumbered about, but that we're focused and we're deliberate about our prayer, and we're deliberate about our studies, and we're deliberate about the time that we have with God. Most of my time with God happens a lot in the car on my way to work or on my way home from work, and I turn on my radio and I'm focused. And, I'm focused on driving, number one, because I don't want to wreck. But at the same time, there's no one else asking me for anything. There's no one else needing anything. And it's that time that I'm able to really focus on what God is telling me and what God's words are speaking to me. And as we join into the worship and we join into the music, it's easy to kind of be able to focus those things out and to be able to put on those spiritual blinders so that we can just focus on the Word of God. And it's even more important right now that we're taking the time to actually be focused on those things and to be focused on the promises of God and not so much on the chaos that is going on around us. And Martha was cumbered about. She was hindered and she was troubled and she was distracted by the things of the world. And I just want to take just a minute to just encourage you to maybe lay aside those things that are making you anxious and to lay aside those things that are weighing you down. And instead of being so focused on, do I have enough toilet paper? Do I have enough peanut butter? Do I have enough of all of these things? Instead of being focused on all of that, maybe take this time that you can't go to work and you can't go to the mall and you can't go to the store. And instead of being so torn up about that, maybe take that time to focus on the Word of God. Maybe take that time to pray with your family. Maybe take that time to encourage your kids to start to learn to read their Bible. A lot of kids now don't know the books of the Bible, but now is the time. Now is the time that we can make that time, because whether we're forced to or not, we're locked in, we're quarantined, we're all kind of having to do that social distancing. And maybe now is the time that we need to be focusing on God and not be so distracted. And I want to encourage you, in these trying times, to not let so much of your focus be on what you don't have, but maybe to spend a little more time